Alrighty, guys. We are going to go through figure 2.59 from the book. And what I'm going to do is, because he has the dimensions in inches, we are basically replicating exactly what is drawn in that figure. And so we want to be in 1-to-1 scale. So rather than using my template document, that base document, I'm going to just start a new document so that I can change the scale without shifting that border. And then I will just add a border at the end. So we hit blank document, and I am going to go ahead and save it and you can put your name, and that is good enough for me. So when we look at our page, we can do it in portrait. I'm okay with that for this project. If you prefer to do it in landscape, go up to File, Page Setup, Printer Setup, and just flip it over to landscape. Press OK. And then now we have our page in landscape. So what we're doing here is creating reference lines, creating objects using references. When you're hand drafting using a grid, that's all lines, because even if you build a rectangle, you are using lines. Computer aided drafting, we get it a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is start, and my reference object is going to be, for the top left one, will be, oops, I forgot to change my scale. So let's go ahead and do that up here, top right, where it is 1/4 inch scale. And I'm going to go ahead and just do the 1-to-1. And press OK. Okay, so now we are in that 1-to-1 scale. So when I start my my first object in the top left, it is sort of a rectangle with very curved edges, sort of like a tabletop or something like that. So I'm actually, instead of starting with lines, I'm going to start with a rectangle. And my width is going to be 3 inches. I'm working in real time, and so I can just do 3 by 1. And then my insertion point, I want it to be in the center. I'm going to place it right in the center of my page to start. And then what I can do is just move it using the Command M button. On the X offset, I'm going to go ahead and go -3. And on my X, I'm going to go ahead and do a positive. We'll try 3 inches. I'm going to see what that looks like. So that's a little too far towards the edge of my paper. I have to go in 1/2 inch, and that's going to be very close. It's not going to give us enough room for that arc. So I'm just going to start over. Command Z brings it right back to center. Command M. I will try just going 2 inches in both directions and see what that looks like. That looks better to me, so I think I will just leave that right there. So I'm going to start just by using my circle tool. My radius is going to be 0.5 inches. So you can either put 0.5 inches on your radius, which will automatically change your diameter. And my sweep, last time I could not get it to change the sweep, So I had to just adjust it in post, but we'll go ahead and try again. Okay, it worked that time, but my insertion put it facing the wrong direction. So I am going to do, there it is. It is Shift Command R. There we go. And then where I select any of these blue dots, you can select as points that will move your object. So if I select this arc end, I can align it to the object, to the center of the object, but it's always going to be aligning with whichever of those little blue handles I have chosen. So I can use the corner and just right on that end. So I could do that again, but I am going to teach you how to use the mirror tool now. With my arc selected, I can simply select this button right here. It's called the mirror tool. It's two arrows facing in towards each other. Click on that. Find the center of my rectangle, pull down, and it mirrored it right on the other side. It's a really handy tool. So now what we need to do is essentially we're drafting in 2 dimensions, and so we need to make this look like one unit instead of a rectangle and 2 arcs. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of my arcs. You could do this one at a time, that's fine too. And in my attributes where it says fill, rather than solid, I'm going to select none. That turns it into just those arcs without a solid center. And when I select my rectangle and do the same thing, what happens is it takes the center out, but we still have these 2 edges of the rectangle that we want to get rid of. And so in order to do that, I'm basically using my rectangle as a reference, but I'm going to take the line tool and go ahead and place some lines right over the top. And then I'm able to select my rectangle, if it will let me, select it by the center, and I can just delete that. And then we have the object that we want, which is made out of 2 lines and 2 arcs. Awesome. My placement now is sort of touching center, which I'm not too fond of. I would like it to be more up into that top left quadrant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all 4 of those objects, and I'm going to group them together. The way I do that is Command G, and that has now made it one object. You can use Command U, which will ungroup them, but for now we're going to leave them together. I'm going to go ahead and do Command M, and I am going to move it. Let's go ahead and move it over 1/2 of an inch on my X offset. Then I'm going to change my Y to 0. Okay, well, that's the start. Once we have our border, we can look and see if that looks okay or if we need to move it. So I'm going to do the same exact thing when I build my my shape to the right hand side. It's actually shape number 3, so I'm kind of skipping around, but I'm going to start with that reference line where the reference rectangle in the middle, which is going to be 2 inches by 2 inches. Okay. And then when you look, the diameter of those corner arcs is, they are 1 inch. Change it to a 90-degree sweep. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK. I'm going to set it on this top corner. It centered it, which is fine. I'm going to hit Command L. There we go. Turned it left, not 45 degrees. And then in order to move this into the correct spot, what I need to do is with the crossbar, grab this handle right here. Sometimes what I like to do if it's in the way is just drop it out of the way, grab it again, and connect it to that square. The beautiful thing about this is that now I can go ahead and use my mirror tool, and I can select center and move it vertical, and I've got one over there. I can click center, move it horizontal, do it once again for that other object. Now all I have to do is take my line tool and connect the ends of the arcs. And then I delete my square. The other thing I want to do is I want to select all of these arcs, and I want to make their fill none. Now I have everything selected again, and I'm going to go ahead and group it together using the Command G, and now it is one object. Okay, for this shape number 2, what I'm going to do again is start with a square. It's 2 inches by 2 inches. I'm going to move it to the bottom left quadrant. Oops, don't need that. The other thing that I'm going to do next is I'm going to create the arc that's over on this side. Our drawing tells us that it has a 2-inch diameter. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. My sweep is 180 degrees. And then I can Command L to get it into the right direction. I move it off so that I can kind of see where everything is. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab this arc end, this blue handle, move it to the top left. Now what I have to do is create this sort of grand piano shape that's happening on the right hand side. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to start by creating a cube again that is 1 inch by 1 inch. This time for my insertion point, I'm going to choose the top left point. I'm just going to pop it into place. And this gives me all of the reference that I need to draw this 1 inch diameter arc and this 1 inch diameter arc. So I'm going to double click on my circle again. My diameter is 1 inch, which will automatically change the radius to half. But this time I need 180 degrees. Command L 3 times. I can select the center handle, top or bottom. Any of them are fine. I'm going to select the top, pull it into place. Now I have to do this arc, which is actually a 2-inch diameter. So we're going to make that 2 inches. The difference is now we are, instead of the 180 degrees, it's only a 90-degree angle. Plop it in, Command L. And so when I select, I think I'm going to select this point because it's easier to go to a point. I feel like this could get a little bit messier. There you go. Now I'm going to group select these, and I'm going to change the solids into none so that we lose all of that, the white blockiness. And then all I have to do is connect the dots with my line tool. Connect the dots down here. And then I can select my rectangles, which are squares this time, and delete them. And now I have that shape number 2. The next thing I need to do now is simply put in my borders. Change my fill to none. And then we're working in 1-to-1 ratio now. And so in my attributes, my width is 11. First, before I change the width, I want to make sure my insertion point is central. Go ahead and subtract out 1 inch from the width. Subtract out 1 inch from, subtract out 1 inch from the height. And then I need to take this additional 1/2 inch off the left side. So I need to make sure that my insertion point is on the right hand side because that one will stay put. And then for the width, I'm going to just take out another 1/2 inch. Hit enter, and then it takes off that other bound edge. The other thing I want to do is, because I didn't start with my different line weights in the classes, I have to go ahead and manually adjust my pen's line weight. So I'm going to take this to a 0.7. The least you could do is a 0.5 for your border. Other thing you need to add in down at the bottom, we always need to write in what our scale is, which is a 1-to-1 ratio. I'm going to just go ahead and pull this over here to the corner. And then you always want to have your name. And then I'm just going to pull it up, line these up so that it all looks nice. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, yep, that is fine. I prefer no fill. Okay, and then this line weight is at the 0.05, which really it should be a little bit greater than that. So I'm just going to go ahead and select, I never grouped these. Group that. I'm going to shift and select all of these things. And then I'm going to move this to a 0.35 line weight, just so that it's, so we can see that it is of a little bit more importance. The other thing is, in our drawing, this unit is central on the page. So I'm going to go ahead and just select it, grab it by this point and pull it down to center. At this point, I'm just dragging them to where I feel is sort of aesthetically pleasing. All right, that will do it. And then what you need to do is go ahead and go up here, File, Export, Export PDF. Save it 3.1, your name. I'm going to save it to my desktop. And then this is what you will turn into D2L.